Hello everyone, welcome back to the OurSociety Experiment. Today's discussion will be about kind of the fledgling beginnings of the OurSociety Experiment, how it came to be, where it came from, and how we got to the point where we are today. The first initial concept of OurSociety started back in July of 2016. I know that because when my wife and I got married, we purchased these books. I purchased these books for us, which are blank. And we keep them on our coffee table. And essentially, if we have ideas just during our casual discussions, we have a lot of conversations that we write them down. And the idea is we write any idea that we like down, any question that we like, any thought that we like. We have different books. This one happens to be, I think this is our philosophy or planning book, and we have like another one for, I guess, more material things. So we have a number of these books, and it really was a brainchild of my wife Tressa and I. I actually have the entry here. On 7/2016, the OurSociety Experiment began with a question. It was, what is the vision of the new system? And that came about just through the conversations we were having of our own distaste for the current political process and the vitriol that was occurring back in July of 2016, which was we were kind of scaling up to the election of 2016. Now, prior to writing this, I had been studying the lectures of Professor Roberto Unger, who was kind enough to post his lectures online for free, which I'll link those below, for probably about 6 or 7 months ahead of time, which had really inspired me. And I mean, he's truly one of my biggest influences for thinking big about the future of society. And that question of what is the vision of the new system, that's kind of what got the gears turning. And we can see through the book and the evolution and documents that I kept on my computer of kind of how it spawned from there. And it initially started, it's kind of ironic the way it worked out, but we've kind of come full circle. The initial idea was, how do we determine a national direction? We see on mass media and a lot of highlights these two very polar opposite views that continue to divide every year through what I believe is manufactured division. It's created to create a more malleable voter base. So the vision for us is in our society was, well, how do we create a more unifying vision? How do we use technology to kind of usurp this current method of politicking, right? It's politics. While fundraising has certainly methods of fundraising have certainly increased, and technology has allowed us to have a better vision of districts and mapping and all that. It hasn't really changed too much in terms of the process. And that, to me, I thought was a very, very odd thing. It's 2000, at the time it was 2017, right now it's 2018. And the question is, we live in a world of exponential technological growth. I mean, every year our technology gets faster, and it gets cheaper and smaller, all in relation to one another. And these are things that really inspired me to start thinking, well, how would we unite? How would we create a national vision? How would we create a national direction? Without, right, the big concern of mine, I read from my notes, was how do you do something like that without immediately just being targeted from all sides, right? Because the idea is many of the current players have a very deep vested interest in keeping power. As Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing. It must be taken. So the concept was, how do we find this more unified direction without immediately being discredited? And we had to find a way to do it in a non-partisan way. So it wasn't about your team. It wasn't about your color. It wasn't about what your idols told you to do. It was about the raw data that you would provide us, along with millions of other people, where we would draw trends and cooperative projects, essentially being able to identify something, right? So this kind of surveying system was the original OurSociety experiment. Identifying a national direction is an ambitious project in itself, but we wanted to go even bigger, right? We figured if we're going to do it, we might as well just go for it. So that's kind of where the idea of the free and open election campaign platform. As we continued our work with our outside developers and volunteers and consultants, we kind of had shifted the focus a bit. It was just, we found that the election platform may be, we thought maybe too ambitious. So we decided to go for a local community engagement platform, which was essentially, the concept behind that is that every municipality has a tremendous amount of untapped human potential. And what I mean by that is there's a ton of human intellect in every town that is not contributing to the discussion. They're not giving ideas, they're not sharing their experiences, and they're not sharing their relevant perspectives. So we kind of wanted to build this community engagement platform. And we did build it. We have the platform incorporated into OurSociety. It's about 80% done. But the cycle of kind of recruiting the towns was very slow, and it was kind of this double-edged sword where the towns aren't as interested if you don't have that many people on the platform, and people aren't interested if their town's not on the platform. So we said, you know what, let's put that on hold and come back almost full circle back to this election, this free and open campaign platform with the societal values to kind of build in that functionality where the users kind of dictate the direction of the actual software, of the platform, of the organization, really. I mean, OurSociety is a 501c3 nonpartisan nonprofit. There's no exit. It's just about serving the community. So that's kind of how we came full circle to where we are now in terms of the development process. At the taping of this video, we're probably about 85% done with our development. We've hit some snags where, if any of you have ever been involved in technical startups, this is par for the course. It's called pivoting. You'll hear that phrase. It means just shifting your direction when a better opportunity presents itself. And because I'm not a developer and I've essentially donated the money to build the platform, we had a finite amount of capital to work with. So we kind of had to pick and choose. It came to the point recently where we just didn't have the funding because of some developer issues to really build out the platform as we saw it within our vision. So we kind of had to pick one. And with the 2018 campaign, the elections coming up, we really wanted to make sure that we could do something with the highest degree of potential impact in the shortest amount of time. To kind of test and experiment, see how it goes, and then build out from there. One thing I'm very excited about is that when we have success with the campaign platform and our users are still there, users in New Jersey, for example, we could easily begin to incorporate the township and community platform to keep people kind of relevant and still attached to the OurSociety experiment as we go on. The idea, the big vision for our society is kind of build this pathway to political engagement everywhere, from the ground up, from your local community up into running to statewide elections and beyond. So that's really our vision with OurSociety, and it all started just from taking a note in a book that I kept on my coffee table. So if we take nothing from the talk, I would strongly recommend to those of you who are seeking creative projects or seeking a new direction or just seeking some introspection on your life, keep a blank notebook around and a pen and make sure you write it down. So thanks so much for tuning into the OurSociety Experiment and today's discussion about kind of how we got to where we are today. Again, I'm Ron Rivers, and I'll see you next time.